Well, I know somebody that's not.
Somebody that's not. Alright, so we're live now, so for anybody watching at home, we'll be going officially live in about 2 minutes. And that way the camera can have a chance to set itself and make sure the feed's good to go. Plus, this is a treat to the fans watching at home. They can wait till next week so they can be patient and wait for us to go actually live. So there we go. Pull that up.
First calories of the day. So sweet. Just feeling coursing through my veins right now.
You know if we switch? Yes.
And no bullshit, his real name Psycrotes. He literally changed it to Psycrotes.
I did no point did I say that was anything. I was like, I'm hearing a wrestling ring and a derelict part of Dundee. There's a guy named Psycrotes. It seems legit. I don't want anything else.
Alright, so there we go. That's good to go. Alright, so.
I'm tired about explaining how to pronounce it, so I'm just like, oh.
It's this word Psycrotes, right?
Well, I think it was Steve, it's not just like, yeah, Steve, whatever.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just not really.
It used to be Psycrotes Steve Austin, and they had to change it because of that douche.
I was my friend Blood at Stripper one time, and the stripper was like, what are your guys' names? The Blood was like, John. And I was like, oh, my name's Brett. So I was like, why didn't you tell me? I was like, I don't know, I didn't want to sleep.
Alright, you guys ready?
Yeah, whatever. Let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Happy Hour Podcast. Of course, I'm Ray. I'm sitting here with Matt, Psycrotes. Unfortunately, they can't be seen on camera because it's coming from my phone. And I'm here with our very special guest, Erik Woodworth.
Hey, what's going on?
Local comedian and also co-host of the Laugh-Finder Podcast. Unfortunately, you had the distinct honor of knowing Tommy Stamazzo, just like we do.
I do. He's one of my dear friends, man. I love Tommy to death. He's I don't know. He's super funny, and I'm pretty funny, and we get along pretty well. We're like the guys when you get together where people don't want to have fun with us because we're laughing at each other too much. There's too much. You have to peel back too many layers to get into the side combos and stuff.
So you're saying you guys are like a big comedy onion?
Yeah, we really are. We really are. And it's funny, Tommy and I had, before this fucking hell, I don't know, is this a cursing podcast?
Oh yeah, you can say whatever the fuck you want.
So, before the hellscape that is COVID started, Tommy and I, we'd had planned for a 2-man act. And that got railroaded by this goddamn hellscape that we live in. But we finally did get this together. We did our first one on New Year's Eve. So,
nice.
Yeah, I believe it was Tom's about that.
Yeah, it kind of rocked.
You guys did a song?
Yeah, we did a little song number about Fuck 2020. It's available online if you search for it on like Laugh-Finder's page and my page. You look through the videos, it'll be there. If you really want to relive that great year that we had, it's all right there. But no, it's great, and I think I'd known Tommy for like a long time or whatever, but he ended up moving to the other side of the Beltway, Ellicott City, and so I got a lot more contact with him. And I think we kind of became best buds because of we do the murder mysteries, like Die Laughing Productions and stuff, and we went overseas to go do that for the troops, and they loved it. It was great. We're going to do it for the Americans next time. Like we did it for Al Qaeda, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure it was well received.
They loved it. But, no, me and Tommy found out that we drove the other two comedians, Rob Mayer and Patrick Melton, nuts. Because we basically became buddies. We're like, you like Weird Al? I like Weird Al too. Do you know every Weird Al song? Yes, I do. Are we going to sing it on the bus ride for 8 hours in fucking Yemen? Yes, we are. And just watching Patrick Melton want to blow his brains out every day, it was really, God bless it. It was so fun. So yeah, he's my best bud. We do a lot of good work together.
And speaking of Tommy, I'm actually kind of worried about him because the last time we saw Tommy, it was me and you, and we had our guest Winston Painter on, and Tommy was drinking Gatorade with mushrooms in it. And he was fucking whacked out of his goddamn mind by the end. And I remember at the end, I was like, hey, Tommy, thanks for helping us out like I always do. I'll be in contact. I didn't hear anything from him. I'm like, is Tommy dead?
No.
Like,
he's just checking out
bush somewhere.
Yeah.
It's fun. Yeah, Tommy does love his psychedelic drugs. He is. You don't listen. If he offers you something, ask what it is. and if he makes listen, if he tells you it's safe but has this face like, maybe just know that that was a lie, and that you're about to have a really fun time for the next 6 hours. But he's.
Yeah, kid, that's a PSA for the kids. Don't employ the Gigi Allen method. If you get your drugs, ask what it is before you take it. You might want me sleeping in a graveyard all night.
I'm just kidding. He hasn't done that to me in like months.
Only months. It's only been a few months.
So that means you're due next week now.
Yeah. That means you're due for Tommy to just walk into your house and be like, hey man, try this.
Take BYOB very seriously.
And of course, we're sitting here, we're on Facebook Live for anybody joining us live at home, and also those of you listening to us on Spotify, iHeart, and wherever else you find your podcast. Now, Eric, you've been doing comedy. What led you into getting into comedy? How did you get into comedy?
What led me into it? You know, well, I know the first. I was always where to start? You know, I didn't realize. You know, when you're like a kid, you don't realize you're weird until there's there's like an age, right? Like you're just a kid.
Oh, I knew the age.
Right? You're just a kid, and it doesn't take. It's something around middle school or high school where you just really clicks. You're like, God, I'm fucking strange.
Yeah, I'm that weird
doesn't make sense.
I was like 8 when I discovered that.
Yeah. So, like most things, I always had I was just a kid, like the class clown, as much as I could be. You know, I was like, oh, well, I show you my ass for you to laugh 100%. Yes. And you give me free candy, sweet. Okay. You know, so it started off as that, and then I ended up. I think I did stand up for the first time, and this video exists. There might be somebody who's watching on Facebook that went to high school with me. I did stand up for the thing called King of the Mill, which is shout out Oakland Mills High School, and it was like their like prom thing. It's like a talent show type thing. Well, I did stand up comedy, a bit that I wrote, like 7-minute bit. And if it exists, I will have to crawl under a blanket. And it will damage me away.
Now we need to find that, and we need to send it to them while they're live on the Laugh Finder podcast. Be like, hey, oh yeah, by the way, look what we found today.
There's somebody who there's a mom out there of one of my friends that has this VHS, and it is going to surface one day. Like it's cringe-worthy beyond anything. And then I guess that was like 2002, the first time I did it. Then I went to college, played rugby, and then after I realized my body was breaking down, about 2010, I started really hitting mics and everything. So I guess I technically say I'm like 10 years in the game of being on stage pretty consistently, making jokes. But the why is just because, I don't know, it's an egotistical thing that I like to make strangers laugh. It's great. I don't know why I like it. I've asked myself, and I don't know why I'm addicted to make people that I don't know fucking laugh.
I like that. I don't know what it is about it, having people laugh and stuff.
Yeah.
It just brings something out. Like, oh, and then once they start to get going, then you start laughing. Like, oh, these guys are really fucking hilarious. And then you fucking basically kill them with laughter.
Yeah.
It's great.
And with what you said with that video, and of course, we're live here at the EWA Pain Factory, so shout out to the Eastern Wrestling Alliance. We're live at the EWA Pain Factory. If you want to sign up to learn how to be a professional wrestler, this is the very ring you will do it in.
You can be just like the hot grease and
yeah, and I'm sure Psycrotes can contest that. Every so often, you'll be online, and then you'll just find a video of a match that you long forgotten existed.
Yeah.
And you're like, I wish that would have just stayed buried. That was so terrible. And you're just kind of like, but of course, then there's some matches that never get recorded that were like for example, you're a big wrestling guy.
Yeah.
Ric Flair said that him and Ricky the Dragon Steamboat had some of the best matches of their career that were never recorded.
Yeah, before they
and that happens. And then, of course, the ones that always pop up are the ones that are shit.
Well, dude, I threw it like if you made Sean Cannon. We talked about how awesome that was. I've never seen it because it wasn't recorded.
Yeah.
So in our mind, it was awesome.
I like it. Well, maybe that's better because listen, if Ric Flair got to watch all these videos, it would probably take away from the memory he has. Right? Let him have this at this point, right? I think you need we record too much stuff now. We need to, my kids are gonna grow up and be able to see like their whole lives recorded, and I just remember 6th grade as being, it was fucking great. I smoked a cigarette that was off the ground once, right? And now that'll be, I don't want to relive that though. I just want to remember it's that nice golden moment.
Well, I've said before to my buddies, if the internet existed when we were in high school, we'd all be in jail.
Oh, Jesus, no doubt. I would be in prison somewhere from all the shit we've done when we got drunk. You know, and I tell my wife all the time, you know, we live in a time where we had the benefit to where we can look at a photo and see what our photo looked like. I'm like, what if we were still in an era where you had the disposable cameras and whatever turned out on the photo turned out?
That was it.
That was it.
Pictures were like this esoteric thing.
Yeah.
And there was people who literally believe they don't want to get their pictures taken because it would steal their soul.
Yeah.
Hell, it's like if you don't take a picture of everything, you're a weirdo.
Yeah.
Oh, I was looking through, I've been married for a decade now, which is, I guess, pretty exciting.
My condolences.
Yeah, I like her. We keep her around. But she, I was looking through some old picture books, as you do when you get old and you have nothing to do around the old house and COVID. And I was looking through my wife's pictures from like college and stuff, and I go through, and I finally found this one picture, and I was like, the picture of fucking balls. Right? I was like, who the fuck's balls are these?
Whose balls are these?
I'm upset. I'm legit upset about that. There's a picture of fucking balls that she has framed in this nice, beautiful book of memories, right? And then I started looking at them, and I was like, oh, those are my balls. Those are my balls. And I forgot that one of my favorite things to do is if I ever found one of those like little clicky cameras just laying around, it always had a shot of my penis in it. Every time. I was just like, never mind. It can't be, you know, I don't think it can be traced back. I'd have to point it out of the lineup, right? But there's my balls are on a lot of those disposable cameras. Settings everywhere.
Now
Should make a photo out of it.
just a dick out there, and out of dicks. Hey, but see, here's the thing. Now that you brought that up, now that you brought the photo lineup, I wonder if it's ever been the kind of thing where, you know, you watch Law and Order SVU, a rape victim. They line up all these cocks. Like, it's not even the guy. It's just the cocks.
Right?
And they're like, tell me which cock it is. And they just sit there and it's like, yeah, you look at one cock and it's just kind of like, I don't know, that could have been the one that hurt me. I don't know, it could have been that one. And then there's one that they're just kind of like, I'll take that one later. And then they're just kind of, no.
It's like, number 4, step 4. Can you fluff yourself up a bit?
Then you just tell one of the new rookie cops, hey, fluff him a little bit.
Get in there, rookie. You gotta jerk off this perk. We gotta close this case by noon. God damn it, Szymanski. I told you I wasn't on jerk duty today.
And of course, we were talking, you brought up...
You fucking dealing with the riots is tough business.
You brought up performing for the troops. How was it performing for the troops?
Oh, it was great. I mean, I liked doing it. I'll tell you that the U.S. government pays better than most other shows you'll ever do. And no, it's rad. One thing I didn't like. The people are great, right? The troops are like, they treat you like you're important, and I'm not. I had to tell them, listen, I was like, they're like, we're doing an autograph signing. I was like, why? Just if they want that, I will. But I would sign things. I was like, this is worth nothing. I mean, this is not important. But I will say that it's weird because when you use their internet over there, they block all the porn sites. Which I would think are
Why do you have internet?
Yeah, imagine being stuck in Kuwait, surrounded by desert, and you can't go to fucking YouPorn. So
you think there would at least be a version where they're all wearing burqas?
Yeah, try jerking off to Burqa News in the morning. It's difficult. It's challenging.
I get that because it makes sense. Like it's kind of like you don't want to have sex before your workout. You want to have that adrenaline. So I mean, if you're soldiers and you're making them to be killing machines, after I get done fucking jerking off, I don't want to go kill people.
That is true. If you give me that, if I'm walking around with a semi-hard on, I'm ready to murder murder
But you know what? You wonder why troops are so crazy. It might be because the whole time that they've been in fucking Iraq or some shit, that they can't fucking beat their dick apart.
It's pretty fucking disruptive.
But
If that was me and I saw a cute goat strolling by,
hell yeah. Fuck this sexy scorpion.
I don't know if I go that far.
Now, but it was funny after one of the shows, right? I would mention that as part of my crowd work. I was like, I overestimated my power of imagination. It's gone. How do you guys do it? And then this guy comes over. He's like, hey, for real, do you need some more? He was just like, I got 4 terabytes back in my office. Whatever you need. You have feet, I got seat shit.
Can I have the keys to your office? Give me the keys to your office!
That's affecting us a little bit.
Yeah, so give it up for our troops and that guy who was bootlegging pornography off of YouPorn to distribute to our 5 boys overseas.
That's like being in jail.
Yeah, no, I got what you need here.
That's the guy who's doing a Purple Heart.
Oh, no. See, the guy in prison's like, I got what you need, but you're going to pay me first. And that payment probably won't be as pleasant as the payment he had when he was over in Iraq. You're going to meet me in the shower in an hour.
Okay, let's do it.
But see, the porn you're going to see is the
I'm
one
doing it for
you're
the
going to
country.
make in an hour.
It's Iraq, not Penn State.
And of course, Tommy Simbazo, we love Tommy Simbazo. He helps us out every so often on the podcast. We need someone to come in and help us out. Of course, you're always welcome if we need, backup. Come in and help us out. Now, you guys podcast, the Laugh Finder.
Yeah.
How did you guys get together and do the Laugh Finder? I was on it with you guys before. It was a fucking blast. Had a great time. You guys play games on there similar to how we do.
We did.
How did you guys, get together with the Laugh Finder?
I can't take credit for the Laugh Finder pod. That is the brainchild of Tommy and Dorian and Brian. And actually, I wasn't even in the original lineup. I replaced another person. The great Jim Meyer, who I love. There were problems, and I stepped in as the replacement. So I'm basically the other woman of the podcast.
So right now, Jim Meyer is probably watching this while loading his gun. Like, this motherfucker
Yes. No,
You're like a Bruce Dickinson of the podcast.
Yeah.
You got that down, Austin.
Jim Meyer is his Buddha.
I remember having to call Jim. I was like, hey man, they bring me on full time since I guess they're moving on with you. I just want to know I'm not immune to bullets, so it's cool, man, right? And then Jim is really, really sweet. It's just I think those two, just Tommy and him, they have a good relationship now. But I think working together, they're both so super funny that they kind of clash heads a little bit. And then we've seen that before. You ever met 2 people that are they're great, but as soon as they start working together, they're like, well, they're just kind of alpha workers. And so it just didn't. I don't think that worked out. But I think we're gonna have Jim as a guest.
Oh, nice. That's good.
And I'm excited to see that.
Yeah. So pretty much, I'm guessing, will that be a Zoom thing, or will that be all you guys together? Because he may murder you.
Oh, no. I've seen Jim multiple times since then. He's very, very nice. I don't think he would murder me.
He's nice, but keep in mind, stuff like that, you never forget that.
Yeah,
You're like, he's in my spot. Look at it like this with wrestling. Someone takes your spot. You're just kind of like, that guy's in my spot. That guy took my spot in Company A. You work that guy in Company B. I'm beating the shit out of this guy in Company B because he took my spot.
Well, I'm glad. I wasn't really worried about it before, but thanks. I appreciate it. Cool, new locks on the doors tonight. Gonna have to go up.
And you mentioned playing rugby.
Yeah.
Did you grow up playing rugby? Is that something that you wanted to do if you didn't get into comedy?
I grew up playing it. I started playing around 16 years old because I played football, and a buddy of mine said, hey, there's a rugby club right up here. I'm going to go to the practice. He's like, and he just got his license, so he would drive me to practice. And I was just always a big dude, and I loved rugby because it's okay, football's fine, but most of the time, if you're a big dude, you're going to play in the front 4 on either side of the ball, and all you're going to do is just smack into other big dudes, maybe make some tackles, make some blocks. I was like, at rugby, you get to play as much offense as anybody else. So I was just like, I get the ball? Shut up. I was like, I get to go against that guy right there. He has to tackle me, right? And I was like, for real? Like this. And so I immediately just loved that aspect of it. And I played for, I went on to go play for Salisbury University, where we won the national championship in 2004. And then I graduated.
Shit, man.
And I graduated in, after that, I played for Rocky Gorge Men's Club here in, right in central Maryland, where they won we won in 2012, and the national championship, and I wasn't playing at the time, so I can't, but they also repeated in 2014. So,
nice, that's good shit.
Yeah, and now my body's completely destroyed, but I do love that sport. I met my wife playing that sport.
Worst rugby injury?
Most painful or worse, because they're two different things, right? Like, my worst injury is I blew out my full knee. I had a bunch of people on me, and then somebody just chopped my side of my knee, and I watched it go pop like that, and that was my first, and that didn't even, like, I saw it happen, and I was mad. I was legit angry that it happened. I was like, how? I was like, you fucking dick. I remember calling him a fat piece of shit while I was there, and I remember being so angry that he did that to me. And then after that, but I think the one that hurt the most was a lot of ones that happened at practice. We would practice very, very rough at Salisbury, and I remember coming in, and this is my own teammate. He was digging in a ball, and I was coming up to support him. He went to rake it out, and he just fully elbowed me right in the nose. Like, as I'm coming in, like, I'm here to help, like that. And I just remember my nose kind of shifting this way and blood coming out, and they were like, well, like, what are you going to do? And I was just like, everybody looks at you like, man, doesn't know fucking keep practicing. Like, and I just remember I was like, you are on my team. You did this to me, and I had a broken nose, and you were my friend. And then I didn't ask for that.
Friendly fire.
Yeah. And then I've definitely had I've had my balls cleated before. That was pretty bad.
Oh, the worst. I think I told Tommy this. I know I've stated this before in the podcast. The worst is when you're wrestling, and any of the wrestlers watching know this, is when your balls somehow end up on the inside part of your thigh. And then somehow you're doing something and your thighs slam together.
With your own ball.
Yeah,
and
you crush your own balls. And you're just kind of like, the guy sitting there stomping you, you're like, I need a second. And I'm like, what happened? My nuts? And they're like, what do you mean my nuts? And it's like, I just crushed my own
That
nuts.
happened to me when I got crossed on a ladder.
Oh!
Good time. And it was in like the first 2 minutes of the match.
Oh, gosh. Hey, you sold that really well. You look so real.
I had no choice.
And of course, our buddy Tom Nutty, he
jerking off was fun, man. I was like,
Oh yeah, and a happy fuck Tom Nutty to you, sir.
Yes, fuck Tom Nutty. Actually, I was on Tom's podcast earlier on today before we came here. You were on just recently as well.
I do.
He said rugby has that big dude energy, and it does. It does.
It is.
Yeah.
Rugby's the only sport where you can be almost any body size, and if you're willing to put in the work, you can be good at it. Like, you don't need to be. It doesn't really help you to be particularly tall, though there are positions that tall helps, right? Yeah. They are, great little people that, are phenomenal at it,
When you say little people, do you mean like little people or like midgets?
Full midgets. I'm talking real tiny sausage fingers.
Full-size midgets,
rugby would be amazing now I think about it.
I know it has to exist. I guarantee if you Google it, not only does midget rugby exist, but the subgenre of midget rugby porn exists. I'm sure you can look up both.
You know what the best
Well,
is?
you know the rule. If it exists, somewhere there is porn.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
How many times have we drove up and down the road going to wrestling shows, and we were sitting there talking about various different porns, and we're talking about like sock puppet porn. We're talking about all kinds of shit, and it's and I meant to say this when you were talking about imagine the students come home, they don't have access to porn. Imagine how deeply they dive into the dark web of porn when they get home.
I used to play a fun game, say name a profession, name a power tool. There is a subgenre of porn. Like
the dick saw. Do you remember?
Yeah.
Oh
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, that's right. The dick saw. And then that was what was her name? Oh, who was that we had on? Oh, it was She was a fetish model, and I can't remember her name right offhand. I apologize. But I was talking about there's fucking machines that are on sawzalls.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, yeah. I'm like a dick saw. And she's like, well, what do you mean by like a dick saw? I'm like, one of those things is on a sawzall. And she pulls it out, and she's like, oh, you mean this?
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, and she's like, no. I'm like, this is real right now. Like, yeah. And we're like, all right. And we're like, so all right, how badly have you dick sawed somebody? Like, and I can't.
Now you created the dick saw. What do you have to be thinking that, man?
Oh yeah.
You ever think God looks down and it's just like, I never knew I created pussy so durable. It can handle man's greatest creation, the jigsaw.
With God, all things are possible.
Like, I feel like God looks at it as like, I think you're really testing the limits here. All right, so let's see how this invention works.
It's like God looks down and he's like, they think COVID's bad. Imagine a chick that's being dick sawed in the ass for 20 minutes straight. That's bad.
With a COVID-covered dick saw.
Oh,
Or God's looking down and saying, finally figured it out.
they finally figured out I'm just a sick bastard. I put them all here to destroy themselves. Oh my God.
Yeah, what do you think about the greatest creations in the history of man? There's the wheel, there's fire, and then there's the dick saw.
That's it.
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah. They should create a Mount Rushmore of dick saws.
Dick saw.
It'll be right next to his album of dicks.
Welcome to the Dixium. New history.
What they do is they just go, all right, we're going to take Eric's dick and we're going to make molds of it. And we're going to put them on dick saws. And it's going to be the Dick Saw Museum of all of Eric's dicks. And you get to, like, press the button on saws and they all go...
Here you can see the AR saw stain. It's our newest model. You can only get it in 4 states. Only if you're licensed.
And here is the Simbazo saw.
It'd be covered with gears and brass fittings, and it would fucking leave your pussy looking like a fucking hairball that you dropped in. I don't know. Yeah, Tommy makes some wild stuff.
Oh my
nothing
God.
I want to put inside myself, though.
He was just making that microphone. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I wish I had just a little bit of that talent to make something. I'm lucky I didn't have a photo of my house. Much less he's creating microphones and shit. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, my wife always goes, that's crooked. And then fucking 30 minutes later, I'm still fucking working on it. Like,
I'm just like, yeah, no, you just take some gum, stick it behind it. It's straight, man.
And Eric, just like us, we have a lot of unique guests on here. You're a huge horror fan. You're a huge wrestling fan. What is your favorite? I would say. What would you say your favorite professional wrestling moment is that you can recall?
Okay.
Besides when I went into the hardcore title.
Apart from Psycrotes winning the NWA title, you didn't have to step on my next one.
It's like Eric's like, should I tread lightly? I'm in a ring with 2 wrestlers.
No, I mean, I've been.
That's a rugby
player. Yeah.
No, but also, I don't know. I can walk around with my pride after getting the shit beat out of me. It's one of my greatest talents. So it's like, I've been punched in the face and said, oh, I probably deserve that.
Yeah.
Okay, respect. I mean, most of the time you walk away alive, and I go, all right, cool, you got me good. Nice. All right, pal. So, okay, my favorite professional wrestling moment. Oh, man, I watch a lot. Recent things come into play, but of all time, it's really difficult. For some reason, what pops into mind, I used to always love any of the old matches between Cactus Jack and Big Van Vader.
Nice.
I was a big Van Vader fan for many years. I just loved how great he first of all, I'm a fat guy, so if you're a fat guy, I'm already into it. I'm like, fuck yeah, you're my new hero. And Vader was the baddest fat guy for a while, and then he also went up against another fucking awesome fat dude, which is Mick Foley. And I was just like, are you kidding me? Cactus Jack, and watching these guys beat the shit out of each other.
And rip his ear off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, watching those two, I was just like, yeah, I'm ready to throw myself off of a deck with a fucking board underneath it, right? Like, I would do things like that, and I always loved that. I think watching those two do things, fall off high places, were always my, like, take a power bomb on like a concrete, I was like, do things like skateboarding. Gravity is my enemy, and I watch those guys. I was like, all right, they can do it. I can fall down. So they kind of, watching those big men early in my life, I think kind of propelled me to go do more physical things. They're like, oh, your big ass ain't gonna break. Look, McFoley's fine. He's missing all of his teeth now. He can't walk. I didn't know that at the time, but
just the fact that he's still alive is kind of weird.
Oh yeah. The fact that he survived that Hell in a Cell with the Undertaker, which unfortunately I know Mick, he's like, I don't want that to be like one of the most renowned moments of my career, but what do you expect? Taker threw him off the top of a fucking cell.
Yeah.
How do you expect? And not to mention while he was doing it, everybody always thought he was smiling, and he's trying to stick his tongue through the fucking gash. And they're like, hey, look, he's smiling. What kind of madman is this? And it's like, no, that's not what I'm doing at all. I'm just trying to stick my tongue through the gash in the bottom. And
I got to perform with Mick Foley, open for him at the very beginning of 2020, which
was
nice. It was great at the Goobies, and I have a fun WWE bit, which is he got to hear it, and he's very complimentary of it. Go up on my website, so I was recording or whatever. But Mick, not to ruin his fucking live show, but he has one part of his story where he's like, everybody talks about the Hell in the Cell and how the tooth was right here and that it traveled through my nose out like this to right here, which I'm not really sure because I wasn't conscious for that. But I venture to guess that it just made the 1-inch trip from out of my mouth to here. Oh! So it was no, he has a great live show and he's super kind.
He's a great guy.
It's funny because I love wrestling and I used to like people. There's certain people that I've found out watching interviews and stuff that I don't like him as much as I did when I was a kid. Like Bret Hart, for instance, is like a person that I've seen him do interviews and I was like, God, what a piece of shit. CM Punk's kind of the same way where I'm like,
that's very bitter.
Yeah, there's some people I hear and I'm just like, oh, God, I wish I didn't know this about you because it's tarnished in my mind, but Mick Foley's the exact opposite.
I have talked about Al Snow on this podcast.
You have heat with Al Snow just because he didn't know who the fuck you were. And honestly, nobody knows who you are.
I'm over, David.
Yeah, they were like, Matt, I told you my name is Psycrotes, Mom.
We went to the strip club, and someone was like, yeah, that one guy Psycrotes.
I haven't done to smoke 2 trees. I smoked them before I came here.
And of course, Tom Nutty commenting along in our feed, he's like, Little People Rugby sounds like something I can win. And then he's like, I love how they went from rugby to dick saws seamlessly.
Yeah. Logical transition, guys.
And what we're going to do real quick is we're going to take a really quick break for a moment from our sponsors. We're going to shoot a song in from one of our former guests, and we'll be right back with Erik Woodworth.
Cool.
For those of you watching live, we're going to go right back into this. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Happy Hour podcast. This is Ray. Of course, I'm here with Matt, Psycrotes, and our special guest comedian, Erik Woodworth.
God, I'm so rested after that break.
For those of you listening at home, our break isn't really a break for us. And what we're going to do, we're going to get into our beer of the week. And of course, Erik, he's our live in studio guest. He's like, hey, I'll have some beer with you. And Matt, you want to?
Before we get into that, what we go through for this show, Ray had to go to 2 different liquor stores just to get a bottle of it.
Yes, I forgot the bottle opener when I left. So instead, I had to go next door and have Al-Qaeda give me a bottle opener. Show me a bottle opener.
Instead of take that place to the box store, they give me a bottle opener.
Meanwhile, King Liquors, who's one of the biggest liquor stores in this area, did not have bottle openers.
They got fucking elephant beer from Syria, but they had a bottle opener.
What are you telling me? You only have dick saws and nothing I can open this beer with?
You open a beer with a dick saw.
You probably could open a beer with a dick saw if you hit it enough times.
Okay, so the beer of the week is Voodoo Ranger IPA, and it seems to be brewed by New Belgium.
Yeah.
What exactly is the Voodoo Ranger doing?
I don't know. I guess maybe he's some sort of. I would like to say he's a Power Ranger that's been kind of like the Green Ranger.
The zombie Power Ranger.
Yeah, when Rita brought him in, he was the evil Ranger.
And then he's playing Godsmack.
Yeah. So it was Voodoo Ranger. Originally, it was something else. Now, here's a fun story for Erik, everybody here, and everybody listening and watching at home. Is I had originally got a different beer. I forgot what it was called, but I looked at the bottle and it said expiration date 9/28/17 on the bottle.
Okay.
And I was like,
I didn't drink it anyway.
yeah. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm not sure if this is a wise idea to drink this. If it was 6 months past, cool, because beer holds up a while. So I just went back in the liquor store on my way here, and I was like, yeah, dude, I bought this like 2 hours ago. He remembered me. I'm like, do you see the date on this? He's like, oh man! And he just took the beer back. He's like, grab anything else you want from the store. And I'm like,
probably put it back in the display too.
probably. Somebody else right now took
Let's have some other jacket.
He sits there, he's scratching off the label for the next 20 minutes. He's like,
It's like the 17 or 27.
And right now we're
It's
being
like
laughed
shit.
and heart bombed by Tommy Simbazo.
yes, my dude.
And what we're gonna do, are you willing to do our shot of the month with us as well?
Yeah, what's the shot?
Also, the shot of the month is A-Team Vodka, which actually we have this next door too. I can't find shit on this. I cannot find shit on this online. I can't find anything. I can't tag them on Facebook. I can't tag them on Twitter. They don't exist. But every fucking liquor store has this. I'm not
18
sure.
like Mr. T?
Yes, like Mr.
I'm thinking
T.
the full like 18 bucket.
Yes.
Is this gonna be like one of, have you guys ever seen the movie Street Trash? Is this one of those things? Are we gonna drink Viper? And turn into a giant paint on messes?
You know what it is they may have potentially murdered the A-Team and just liquefied them. And we're just drinking the A-Team right now. That's what's happening. So, all right, so here we go, Matt. I'll give you the nice little I Do Crew, the pink one. And then, of course, Eric, here you go. That's going to be yours right there. And one thing that is great about this is it's very smooth. So here we're going to go. Here we go. Our 18 vodka, which for some reason me and Matt have a bad habit of cheersing or pouring our drinks over the computer. Which we do it every week. And I'm like, what the hell is happening this?
Let's try one more time.
So here we go.
Alright, cheers, folks.
It's as smooth as Chase when he lathered himself in lotion. You're a smooth son of a bitch.
Dude, there that time when I sat there and I nared myself from here all the way down. And fortunately him and our other buddy Blood, who's a fellow wrestler, they're sitting there feeling me all over. They're like, you're a smooth motherfucker. You're a smooth. I go, what's smoother? Like, you are a baby. And I'm like, and it was weird. But of course with Nair's one of those things. The reason why I never did it again after that is Nair's one of those things that if you leave it on too long, it burns your skin.
Yeah.
So, you sit there, you put that shit on your balls, and you're just kind of like, whatever. Then the next thing you know, you're like,
because I was into Nair back then. Now I'm just a fucking man piece.
Yeah.
But
Matt used to nair his anus all the time. He just throws his hands over his head.
This is my
He just
story.
nair his asshole.
See, I actually married my team. And that was probably the worst fucking mistake I ever made. You want to know what real pain is? It's marrying your fucking team.
Oh,
I had something
Yeah, but what goes through your mind when they put it on the other part and you're like, oh, this hot burning sensation would be good. Right there, dude, in the right food.
that's almost it feels kind of good, but it sucks all at the same time.
Have you ever used Icy Hot and forgot to wash your hands? It does.
Everybody gets this thing in here.
Oh, no, that's good. I'm good at all. And what we're going to do now is
my butthole. That's how bad it was.
we're going to get into our weekly segment, Ode Humanity, where we play all of our games. So, Eric, what we're going to start off with is 5-second rule. Have you ever played 5-second rule?
Please explain it to me, not because I don't know. Because
Are we all going to play? I guarantee you I'm going to
We're all going to play. It's going to start with Eric. It'll go to me. Then it'll go to you. And if all four of us are idiots, then it's just a battle round. So pretty much, Eric, what you're going to do is I'm going to say name 3 of something.
Okay.
You need to do it within 5 seconds.
Got it.
Whatever you name, I can't name. Whatever I name, Matt can't. So on and so forth. So
Okay.
whichever it's named, it cannot be named again. So this is the little gimmick that keeps track. Once the balls get to the bottom, you're
That's
done.
5 seconds.
So that's 5 seconds. Yeah.
3 of something.
Yep. So
And they're
before-
from these cards. Got it.
Yep, from this card right here. So what we're going to do is name 3 things that you can choose.
Oh, dick, pussy, and ass.
I mean, I can't argue with that. You can technically check it. Now I know you said you're good at anything. Do you want to answer answers for this?
The same one?
Yeah. We'll see what Psycrotes thinks also.
So 3 things you can too.
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah, ready, and go.
Chinese food, thoughts, titties, and my own dick.
Ah!
There you go. So did. Wait a minute, let's go to the judges.
I have talents many people are not aware of.
Somebody call Ken Jennings. Let me weigh in on this one.
The next game is incoherent.
Okay.
So pretty much what we're going to do is I'm going to hold a card up to you.
Got it.
And pretty much it's going to be in drunkenese.
Okay.
So you need
Which
to
is
try
our
to
life
figure
for
out
about 10 years.
what the card says in a drunken form. So we've had a couple beers, we've had a shot, so it might help out a little bit. And there's also hints on the back. You get a hint on the back, just let me know there's two. You have till the timer, this little timer right here gets to the bottom.
Okay,
to
got it.
figure it out.
Let's do this.
So here's your card right here.
Okay.
We're going to go ahead and flip that guy over.
Hammy on speaking her. Hammy on speaking her. Oh, Hammy-ons? Hammy on speaking her? Hammy on speaker. Ham ion speaker. Ham ion speaker. Ham ion speaker. Ham ion speaker.
I think you got it.
Am I on speaker?
I have no idea.
Am I on speaker?
Yes!
There you go.
Yes, you got it. Am I
Nice.
on speaker? So, just in case anybody, the hints are great. It says, am I on speaker is the answer. It says, hint, a loud phone. And then it says, a question you realize you should have had been asked sooner. And of course, Cards Against Humanity. We can't do Ode to Humanity without Cards Against Humanity. Eric, have you played?
I have played Cards Against Humanity.
All right. So what we're going to do is, Matt, if you want to read the black card,
All right.
we will
let's see
give
here.
you these 4 cards
Okay.
and read off each one, and then
Okay.
whichever one you think is the best.
Okay.
that fits that.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, this goes for people who are married here. Okay, so the black card says, I swear to God, I'm gonna murder my husband if he doesn't shut the fuck up about blank.
Doesn't shut up about blank. You would need me to read all these off, or just pick the best one?
Just pick
right?
the best one, and I'll read what the other options were.
Okay, got it. All right, read that question back one more time, and I'll give you the immediate answer.
I swear to God, I'm gonna murder my husband if he doesn't shut the fuck up about blank.
The King of the Jews. That's it.
And of course, the other options were getting mommy another beer, new DNA evidence exonerating O.J. Simpson, and an ass like a bag of pool balls. What the?
You can't go wrong with any of those.
Well, the thing is, OJ is already innocent.
Yeah.
Why are we still looking for DNA evidence?
It's all well said.
What more DNA is there?
What, are we going to make him innocent more? In the eyes of the law, he's fine.
He's already out.
It was called If I Did It, okay?
Yeah, let's go check the DNA on that, make sure we can exonerate him. He's done. He's already done.
That was good, like, you know, if my husband doesn't shut the fuck up about, 18th century German philosophy. Yeah, that's me, shout out to Nietzsche.
And Eric, thank you for taking part in our Own Humanity segment, and of course our Year of the Week and Shot of the Month. Now, with the Laugh-Finder podcast, and
I felt like I was going to have to find a giant flag inside of a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. That's what I was going
That'll be the next episode.
All right, cool. When I come to the Pain Factory, I expect some
You're going to feel the pain of this dick saw.
All right, guys, here.
Next EWA show, Dick Saw on a pole.
Hey, by the way, if they don't do that for the new Jack, if I don't hear, hey, my name's Steve-O, and this is called Dick Saw. Like, that's what I want to see. A 50-year-old man getting fucked by a piece of machinery.
And you know what? Speaking of which, that's probably about the age that Steve-O is right now.
He's 40, so
Yeah.
I know everything.
It's insane, and they're making a new movie.
Yeah.
They're totally making a new movie, which is completely insane to me.
They both got put in the hospital. Johnny Knoxville and Steve-O went to the hospital day one of shooting.
That has to say something. It's like, are you guys sure you can do this?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good. We're good.
I'm 50 years old now, but fuck it.
I'm just like, what are you going to do? And you can't throw yourself out of those things like, hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. This is eating horse cum again. Revisited.
Hey, why not? If you're gonna make a sequel or something.
And for the Laugh Finder podcast and your comedies, what do you expect? What's coming up? What do you see coming up in 2020?
Are you gonna find some laughs?
I think so. We're pretty good on the Laugh Finder. We love doing that. My big projects still are the Quality Time podcast, which because you love horror movies, we love to have you on sometime.
Dude,
That's with me.
I saw your Camp Crystal Lake, your button.
Yeah.
On your jacket, I'm like, oh, he's a Jason fan. Jason's my number one.
Oh, Jason's your number one. I just got for my birthday. I got the Blu-ray collection.
Oh, nice.
And I've been pouring through it.
You watched part 6. We had him on the show.
Oh yeah, we had CJ Graham one. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I watched part 5, which is one of the people shit on part 5. Okay, it's one of the least favorite ones.
Yeah.
I dare say it's one of the most important in the franchise.
Oh yeah.
You know why? Listen, that fat kid who gets fucking murdered in part 5, right? That retarded man who gets killed because he just offered somebody a chocolate bar. He is the hinge. Let's understand. He's the hinge point of all the series. There's not another 5 movies. If that guy doesn't get murdered, Roy doesn't go ape shit. He doesn't ruin Tommy Jarvis's life. Tommy Jarvis doesn't fucking Frankenstein reanimate Jason Voorhees by accident in the next movie. Like nothing happens. It's all this fat retarded guy. It's all him. So his ambulance bastard father can go and murder counselors.
Bastard father.
That's the only.
That's gonna be the name of this episode. Episode 31. His ambulance bastard father.
Yes, because there's only 2 2 Friday the 13th where Jason is not the murderer, and that's number 1 and that's number 5.
Yeah.
So, there you go.
What's your favorite in the franchise? You think?
So for a long time it was 6 was my favorite for a long time. But I really, and as I've gotten older, I think Freddy versus Jason is the best.
See,
I
Freddy
love
versus Jason was good. The only thing that took away from it for me was the fact that Freddy was at his full. But Jason wasn't a lot of his deaths were via the machete. And I'm like, Jason's much more creative than that. He murdered someone with a party horn. He fucking killed somebody with a party horn. Why is he not using a machete?
He killed somebody with a leather belt in a tree. You
Yes.
understand that? Like, just twisted it like this. Who does that? He's the MacGyver of murder. He folded a bed in half. Like, he used a Craftmatic bed to kill somebody one time.
Rolled him up in a sleeping bag.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he did that too. He did that in 3 of them.
Yeah.
3 movies. He did it in part 7, which was the original. He did it in part 10, which was the illusion scene.
With 2 minutes.
You're like, you want some dogs and some beer? And then you see him beating the one up the other. And then they redid it in the remake, where the chick with the fucking glorious fucking tits just got fucking filleted like a fucking chicken over the fucking fire. And you see her
I'm just
body
by
fall
this
out.
best horror movie death. Cain, See No Evil.
Oh!
The hot blonde bitch when he just shot his cell phone down her throat.
Yes.
I have masturbated to that.
And you know what? There's actually talk. I don't know how true the rumor is, but there's a rumor going around that apparently they're talking to Kane about being the next Jason.
Really?
If they do that, I think that might be hot shit because Kane was great as Jacob Goodnight.
And he's the fucking mayor of Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yeah. I mean, that's.
Do you really think Kane could pull off a masked psychopath?
You know what? I really looking at Kane. I don't know. I only know corporate Kane. I don't think he would ever pull off a mask.
You're not looking to see a Kane and Daniel Bryan team helmet comedy flick.
Yes.
So good.
Yes.
A buddy cop movie with Kane and Daniel Bryan.
I miss Team Hell No.
Yeah, Team Hell No. Like that's one of those things that in the wrestling business, it was right place, right time. And they did it, and it worked.
Yep.
And you're just kind of like, why didn't this go on as long as New Day did?
Because
Like,
it
this
wasn't
was
one of those
great.
things.
Well, Brian
If
played the top.
if I'm watching the WWE, the things that are accidentally great by them, they don't let use it. Like Rusev Day. Like Rusev Day was a great thing. It shouldn't, but because it feels like because it wasn't somebody else's idea, that like who wears like, well, I'm sorry, that wasn't part of the script, so we're not going to push that. I feel like that was the same kind of thing. You know?
Vince is notorious for that.
Well, you know, in Psycrotes, you know, at the beginning of my career, we did a gimmick called the Legion of Ungood, and we were evil villains. Okay. We were terrible at it. We made our own gimmick. We were supposed to be heels, and we went out and we were so bad, we would clothesline somebody and we would fall down. And it's the kind of thing that we did. And then we wrestled chicks and we lost the girls. So
wait a minute, did you have a ray called the reverse ray?
It was Gold Thumb. I was Gold Thumb.
They did have a shopping cart on the danger card.
Yeah, it was our vehicle. So we had Gold Thumb, which was me, Dr. X, who later went on to be Darth X, and we had Mr. E Machine.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And so our second show doing this gimmick, you see Mr. E Machine come out, and he has these airplane directors. And everybody's like, what the fuck is this? And he's directing something out. And they're like, what the fuck? So we have this big, cart that we made into the danger cart. So I'm so excited. I'm like, people are going nuts for this.
Yeah.
I'm not paying attention. We had a big ramp that went down. The whole left side of the cart was off the ramp. So I'm pushing it. And poor Dr. X, who was inside the cart, as soon as we made it to the ramp part, the cart just fucking fell. You're like, ah! And it just falls to the ground. And he comes out, you hear all the guys in the back, and it just goes in a line. All the guys in the back to the crowd just laughing hysterically.
As he's going down, it's like, this isn't a spot!
Yeah. And he gets up, he's like, you know, son of a bitch! And he's like, yeah, and it's legit. So
and we did Dr. X, and this is called the Ramp Challenge.
Yes, he is. So we go in the back after that. We go in the back, and they're like, well, that was great. They're like, we couldn't have paid you guys to do that any better.
We're still not going to pay you.
Yeah.
And we couldn't have paid you.
You know the business too well.
By that, I mean, we're not going to pay you.
So we go in the back, and they look at me, they look at Wes, and they look at Mr. E Machine, and they're like, you guys now have to do this every time you come out to the ring. Dr. X, he looks at me, he's like, I fucking hate you. So every time we thought that, there was a time I came out, I let go of the cart, I didn't even tell him how I was letting go of it. He's like, ah! He was going down the stairs. And the gimmick only lasted about a year and a half. It went from 2005 to about 2007. And
wait a minute, tell me that you cut promos beforehand. You're like, listen, you're going to have your hands on the cart.
Yeah,
of course you're going to do that. Of course you're going to. But something would come up where you get just like, ooh, a blue bird!
Our promos were the secret underground volcanic layer. Always in the bathroom. They were always in the bathroom. But it was from the secret underground volcanic layer. And there was a time that we were in the stalls and Dr. X was yelling at he was the leader. So he was yelling at Dr. X and Mr. E Machine. So we both tried to fight our way out of a stall. And he's like, you idiots! But no one ever found out where the layer was. And it was the thing that eventually they did it. And, you know, there started to be a little bit of dissension in the Legion. And Gold Thumb was the dumbest of the three. Yeah. So, you know, I would always spray paint things gold. Like, yeah, 1 1/3 touch, 1 1/3 Midas touch. So, you know, I had a whole, the Bray Wyatt glove, I spray painted it gold. And it was the thing that everybody would expect Dr. X to turn heel because he was the serious one.
Yeah.
They turned Gold Thumb heel. No. So that was the thing. It was like Gold Thumb got tired of losing matches and Dr. X would miss Q. And when I turned heel, I pile drove Dr. X. Fucking crowd went nuts. So they were like, one more time. So I was like, all right, fuck it, boom, did it. As soon as I ran the back, I go, you motherfucker. If they say one more time, you turn the heel, you just go, oh, you want one more time? You take them up, then you throw them down and go, you're not getting it one more time. So I'm like, whatever. I was just feeding with the moment.
But heels have to not give the fans what they want all the time.
Oh, yeah. Like, that's the thing. I was always told by Al Snow.
That's why technically John Cena is the greatest heel.
Oh yeah.
Technically,
the
greatest heel.
It's like a lollipop with a child.
Yeah.
You gotta give the child a lollipop.
You want that?
Yeah. But if you do it too many times, eventually the kid's gonna be like, "Fuck you," and walk away. But eventually, when you give them that lollipop, they're like, "Yeah!" It's the whole way it is. But anyways, we got sidetracked. We always derail in this show, and it's always the second half.
But that was fun.
Yeah. For the Left-Winder podcast and comedy, what do you see in 2021?
Oh, God. Honestly, just more COVID-riddled America. What am I going to say? Listen, it's safe to go out and do shows, I will be doing them all the time.
Yeah.
I am still doing them from time to time. You just check out my social feed and stuff like that. I will go do a show for money in front of a COVID-riddled crowd. I won't touch any of you.
Money
I will
always
go like
talks,
this. Yeah, you know. So,
I don't know if you touched them. I mean,
reach out and touch me.
You're comedy touching me.
Yeah. Point on the doll where I touched you. But no, I think we're 2021. I mean, I hope things come back to a certain level of normalcy. I think as every American here wants, right? We all wanted to just be able to go out to fucking Chili's and get some $2 margaritas.
Welcome to Chili's.
Yeah, as you're getting removed, as you take a fucking handful of fries off a random person's plate as you're getting removed, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. That's what I want to get back.
Speaking of which, knowing the fact that we're live in Dundalk, Maryland right now.
Yeah, shout out.
I believe that if right now I were to go through the Dundalk Denny's, they would tell me to leave. I made such a bad reputation there. Yeah. We were banned from the Dundalk Denny's so many times. We used to go and get our own food, we would serve our own drinks. There was a time my friend Bobby, we went to...
Sounds like Barbertown. It's not even...
We went to, what was it, Jello Wrestling at Dreamers. It was a strip club. We went to Jello Wrestling.
Treating Denny's like it's your mom's house. Be respectful.
When did we hear the Bluefins?
Bluefins isn't even going to be brought up. There were crimes that happened at Bluefins. Now, what is it? It's not even Bluefins anymore. Something like that. But anyways, we go to Dreamers. So my friend Bobby jumps into Jello, completely covered from head to toe with fucking Jello, like red, just red. So we're like, fuck it, we're drunk. Let's go to Denny's. Let's fucking go to Denny's. So,
which, by the way, it's funny when if you go to Denny's covered in Jello, they don't even look twice. They're like,
we go to Denny's. He gets in the car. He's sticking to the fucking. You don't understand how hard it is to clean Jello out of a car. So we get to Denny's, and he's sitting there, and he's fucking covered in Jello, and we start throwing fucking salt, like the sugar packets at him, and they're sticking to him. So the lady comes over. She's like, "Oh my God, sweetie, what happened to you?" And he's like, "We had a baking accident. A cake exploded. So she's like, "Oh my God."
That show Extreme Bake Off. They never show you the dark side.
She's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm fine. Can I get some pancakes, please?" So we order food. So she sits there and she watches them take the whole entire thing of maple syrup and pour it onto the pancakes. The entire fucking thing. So he sits there and then he looks around. He takes his hand and he smacks the pancakes. They explode everywhere. And fucking she comes over and has pancake. All of us have pancake all over us. She comes over and she's like, "Oh my God, sweetie, what happened?" He's like, "My pancakes exploded. Can I get some more pancakes?" No bullshit, I swear on my father's grave. She goes, "Sure." So she fucking sits there and brings him more pancakes. He's like, "Hey, our syrup thing is empty. Would you mind bringing us some more syrup?"
He's doing the same bit.
So she sits there, she brings him more syrup, and he's like, "Ooh," and we're like, "It's gonna fucking happen again." Like, he sits there, and this time she's watching. So he sits there and he's like, "Motherfucker!" Ah! And he hits it again. Fucking explodes again. She comes over, she's like, "We need you guys to leave." And I'm just like, "I haven't even got my sausage yet." Come on. So,
I will take at least one link or one patty. I never got it. Listen, my dude's out of control. I get that.
Yeah.
I get a smack pancakes though.
Yeah, I can't help but blind over here.
I will tell him to wait in the car for the love of God. I'm sorry I brought the male version of Carrie into your establishment. Post-prom scene.
It was sort of like
I'm legit hungry and angry.
It was sort of like Johnny Lawson's bachelor party at the Gold Club, where he threw up on the stripper, and the bouncer comes over to me and he's like, "I just want to let you know, you can stay, but your buddy's out of here."
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you're a waitress at Denny's at 2 a.m., you've seen some shit.
Yeah.
You're not the Lord of it.
Well, here's the thing. Do you mind hanging out a little bit extra? We might run a little bit over.
Yeah.
All right. So we're on story. So we might run an hour and a half this episode. We're at 57 minutes right now. Eric said he'll hang out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to share stories. So fuck it. We're in story mode. So if you remember my bachelor party, you were there. You were there. So the whole time at the bachelor party, I'm just sucking down hot dogs. Like literally, like I didn't even eat a roll. I just took hot dogs. Like, you ever see the guy?
Wait a minute.
I'm just sucking down hot dogs.
I love the idea. You're like, it's my last night as a single man.
Yeah. You ever see a guy on America's Got Talent? He like would swallow like fucking like what was it, the 8-ball and shit like that? It was like that. It was just hot dogs just straight down.
He's eating like a dog again.
So we go on the bachelor party, and one of our guys in the wedding party, he was under 21. So I was like, let's structure this to where he can go. So at the time,
where else are you gonna go?
Yeah. So at the time, I'm not sure how familiar you were with night shifts. But night
I'm
shifts
familiar. That's the first strip club I went to when
that
I
was the first
18.
strip club I went to. How many times did you go to Christine? Here's a question. How many times did you go to night shifts? How many times did you go to night shifts where you saw a stripper fly off the pole? Because they had their spinning poles. So those bitches would hook their legs underneath and they would spin the pole and hook their legs. But they wouldn't hook their legs properly and they would go flying off the stage and hit the ground.
It was amateur hour.
All I know about night shift is there was a fucking beautiful woman with the hair of the raven that gave my 18-year-old pecker a massive hard on that my friends were just loved to pay for, and I never went back because I liked fantasies more. That's just the truth.
Shout out to the truth. We usually had that fantasies years ago.
We tried for a TV show.
Yeah. And that's the thing, like that.
We also made that 1 or 2 drinks that night.
Speaking of Lisa Ann, I believe this year we're going in order of how Happy Hour TV was. You remember TV show? 8 years ago when we did Happy Hour TV, which now became the podcast. Lisa Ann was a guest, so make sure everybody listening or watching at home, you look out for the Lisa Ann vintage episode, fully fermented from Fantasies and Balls.
Great actress.
Yeah.
I love her work.
And we were supposed to have Brie Olsen on. And shout out to Mike, we were there. Brie Olsen was so fucked up that night. She licked his face. Like, we were supposed to interview her, and then...
My favorite part was when she was going around the stage and she grabs one of the guy's beers, which still has beer, she sticks it in her pussy, and she pulls it back out and just drinks it.
Yeah, the thing is we knew the interview wasn't going to happen, not only because she licked Mike's face, but because she had about 13 guys eat her out on stage. And we were like, well, this interview probably isn't going to happen. And she fell off stage.
Right?
We've all been
there. We've all been there.
Fell off the stage. But going back to night shifts, there was this stripper that I used to remember there. Her name was Blaze. I'm not sure if you remember her or not, but she had her face was kind of fucked.
It's my favorite American black lady.
Yeah. And I'm like, what happened? It looked like her face was set ablaze. I was like, is this why this is working? She has such a great body and she could twerk. And I was just kind of like, I can't get past the face, but the rest of it.
You have a 10 body, but you look like you could be a Batman.
I would be in the lucha match.
You're like, I'm not going to put a bag on your face, but could you wear this Rey Mysterio mask that I happen to have a mask? I'm really into lucha sex.
Great, you could have fucked her and wear the gold mask.
Yes. And speaking of Tom Nutty, he keeps on commenting, he's like, this episode has the best vibe.
Hey, if I fuck a hooker while wearing the hardcore title, you got to go with gold mask.
And then he said, this is Denny's in Dundalk. How dare you? And speaking of that, when I were you around for Happy Hour TV, we did the Beer Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
And the first night of the Beer Olympics was the night when I won the EWA heavyweight title. So, and
you missed Matty Paul eating Mike's puke.
Yeah, Matty Paul ate Mike's puke. Coach Mike, unfortunately, Mike wasn't here. Mike wasn't able to join us tonight. He's always fucking busy. For some reason, as Tommy Sabazo would say, fuck Mike. Yeah. So,
it's probably a Hershey again.
Yeah. I won the heavyweight title. So I drive up to the Beer Olympics with the belt. I'm like, guys, I won the belt. So Matty Paul, the first thing he does, he's naked at the Victory Lounge in Pasadena. So he's naked at the Victory Lounge. First thing that happens is he puts the belt on naked and drops it on the ground. I'm just kind of like,
because it's mad.
It's really like, yeah.
Well, right before that, me and Matty were in the bathroom. And
Whoa. You and Seabiscuit were in the bathroom.
He's peeing, and he's missing the feet. He just looks over me and he's like, Psycrotes, am I making it? Am I making it?
Yes!
I was nice.
Close enough.
I've done that.
You get a gold star today, man. So Eric, while you were on the road doing comedy, the various things you do, what do you think is one of probably the most memorable moments that stands out in your mind? It just keeps on playing on repeat.
A time on the road. You know, I'd say my most fondest road trip would probably be going to Kuwait. Here's my favorite story. When I went to do one of the troop shows that we did, we had a layover in Kenya. Okay.
Oh.
And we were in the Kenya airport, and it's me, Tommy Simbaza, Rob Mayer, and Patrick Melton, and we were like, well, we got to be here 9 hours at this airport. I was just like, let's go and see what Kenya's about. Let's just go. Let's go to Kenya. We have 9 hours in Kenya. Let's see what this is about.
Yeah.
And Rob and Tommy immediately went like, that sounds dumb and dangerous. It sounds like a bad idea. And me and Patrick were like, fucking cups. We're gonna go, right? And so me and Patrick Melton proceeded to enter Kenya. So the first thing that you have to do
now,
is
Kenya, was it the country or was it a person? Because by the way,
Yes,
we decided to enter Kenya.
She was great. She handled us nicely.
You have the dark skin.
Huge cock. DBC.
Yeah.
So the first red flag about entering Kenya should have been
She had a dick.
Yeah. As we're getting up to like the customs area, we realized we don't have enough money on us to pay the thing to enter the country.
No.
So we haggled.
So now the country's going to enter you.
Wait. So Patrick Melton goes, he's just like, don't worry, Daddy's got this. And he was just like, listen, we just want to go out for a couple of hours. I know this is like 25. Can we like both just go for 30 and give us a stamp? And we're coming back to fly out in like 8 hours. And, he was like, and literally they went, oh yeah, no problem. So we haggled our way into the country. Already we've known that it works on a bribe-based system, right? So,
What else can we bribe for here in this country?
He's saying haggling, but I thought, oh shit, what she has to do? Like, give a fucking kid this? He goes, no, we just give a fucking kid.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
yeah. So we get out and we just want to, like, we don't know anybody, obviously. We kind of drink some coffee at this cafe. We asked and everybody's very, because you're white, like, they're like, ooh, a guy who has money. And you're like, chill. You have no idea how broke I am.
You're in Kenya, someone's standing there with a shield, a spear, and a lion.
Oh,
and it's kind of like, oh.
So we eventually, we get a cab, and we just tell the cab driver, we're like, hey, we asked the lady, I was like, how much does it cost for a cab ride down to like downtown Nairobi? We want to go see what Nairobi's about. And he's like, maybe like 30 of our fake dollars, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. So we go to the ATM, we got about like 200 of these fake dollars, and we're like, all right, cool. So we get you're like, where are you going? We're like, we want to go to downtown Nairobi, like a place where like bars and shit you can drink is. And he's trying to already sell us on like a safari, like they're great salesmen, right? Great salesmen. We're like, no, just drop us off here, we'll be fine. You're like, well, do you want me to wait for you? I was like, I want you to leave now, and then I'll go find the next thing I want to do, right?
Yeah.
So we get out, we're smoking cigarettes, and we find this guy who immediately is like our new guy, right? He's like, first of all, he tells us it's illegal to smoke on the streets, and we look around like, shit, nobody else is smoking. He's probably right. We put him out, and he was like, we're looking for a bar around here. He takes us to a bar. It's nice. It's like an outdoor kind of tented thing. Like the thing, it looks like Fish Head Canteen, right? So to give you guys a reference point. And we're sitting there, and this guy is trying to sell us some weird timeshare this entire time. But he's kind of like the devil we know. So we're like, all right, cool. Like, they're like other scammers are coming up to me. It's like, these are my fucking bits. Like, you know what I mean?
Nobody controls the wall.
Yes.
Have you ever seen the turf wars for soda in the city?
Yes.
Like they're sitting there selling off the soda, and you're like, is this a turf war?
Yeah.
This guy's selling Mountain Dew, but this guy's selling Coca-Cola. It's like,
So he's literally like, he's ready to back 14-year-old kids that are coming up. I love it. I was like, this is my man, right? He's trying to book us on a comedy show that's not going to happen. We're like, oh, this is your number? It's like 17 numbers. We're going to call it. Don't worry. So, but as I'm sitting here, I have like kind of a lay of the land. Like I'm sitting in the corner and I can see it started with this table with 2 people, and there was a table with like 3 people here. And then this table of 2 turns into like a table of 6. This table of 4 turns into a table of 8. And I noticed that they're not talking to each other, but they're all just staring at me and Patrick. And I'm starting to have like, okay, I'm starting to get a little fucking nervous right now. Because like, I'm a giant in this land, and so is Patrick. But when I saw enough of these motherfuckers that could carry us off like Gulliver's Travels, I'm uncomfortable now. I'm in a fight or flight mentality. Right?
We need to get back to the airport now!
So this guy, our fucking scammer gets up and he goes to take a piss, and I'm like, Patrick, we need to fuck out of here. And he was just like, can you find it? He's been oblivious this entire time. And he looks around and he's just like, oh shit, these guys are all staring at us. I think it's time we leave money here and we walk out and we get a cab and go back. We get up. The second we get up, both those tables get up. And I'm like, I'm freaking. I'm uncomfortable, right? So
all your doubts and shit. Oh god, just come to fuck.
it was true.
This is where I die.
I'm thinking, I'm like, how much can my boy pussy take before I can't do any more of them, right? So like, how many dicks can you take? I'm thinking, I'm like, you want to fuck Patrick? I'm already ready to sell him out, right? Like, so for my freedom, right?
You want to see Nairobi?
This is Nairobi.
This was like the Nigerian email scheme in real life.
So we get out, and I see now that there's a group of people following us, and I'm just like, Patrick, fuck it. Beeline, let's go right through the middle of them. So we beeline it through, like, we don't want to be followed, blah, blah, blah. We go right through, no problem. We go down the street. We see somebody on the corner. They're like on a cell phone. They're like, yeah, and they're pointing at us. I was like, motherfucker, like this. We go up and around. There's another person on the phone, like, pointing at us, like, oh my God! I swear we're like being followed through the streets of Nairobi. Right?
You just see guys on lions. Right? Like horses. It's not horses, they're just on lions.
I think I know that. I think it was Buddha.
So we finally went down this one street and we saw a taxi that was parked, and the guy was just looking at his phone, looks like he was just fucking around. We're like, you're our taxi!
Take us to the airport.
Yeah. So we get in there, and then he immediately starts driving. I was like, just drive us to the airport, here's money. And he takes us to a gas station. And it is like, okay, this gas station is surrounded by guys on both heads. It looks like it looks like a place where somebody will pull an Uzi and murder you, right? And I'm looking around and I'm like, 2 giant white guys sitting in this tiny car with this guy trying to pump gas. And then he was just like, I was like, me and Patrick talked about it. He was like, let's just steal this car. You steal this car, get your big ass in that thing right now. And then that guy strong-armed us for like another 30 fucking dollars out of us. I was like, get as much gas as you need, pal.
Yeah.
Just get us out of here.
Fill up your car in the next 3.
Yeah, get us out of the fucking barrio. And then he drove us out of there after that. And I didn't get human traffic. Great story.
And Eric,
So where was that again? Because I'm not going.
Nairobi.
When COVID ends, your next comedy book never sees. The first show is going to be in Canada.
Straight out of Kenya.
We'll get back to our island.
Now what I'll do is I'll look at an adult porn star named Kenya, and I'll ask Eric to be like, hey, would you mind co-hosting for us? And that way the whole time Kenya, it's just stuck in his head.
We need Kenya to love sister. Kenya loves.
That's the thing. He always could lust it. He was in Kenya. Anyways,
No, we don't get out of that situation. You guys had a big stall. There's a law that says any sufficiently advanced technology is indistinguishable from magic. The Kenyans would look at you like, oh my God, these guys are like gods. What do they have?
Where's the fucking sorcerer?
This is Sinbad from that imaginary genie movie that everyone knows.
Holy shit, this guy comes under.
Are these guys voodoo races?
And that's the name of the episode now.
Yeah.
Comes under a minute.
And with that, we ran a little bit over. Guys, we appreciate you joining us on the Happy Hour podcast. Eric,
It's great
It
to
was
be here,
great.
man. Fuck
We're
yeah.
definitely going to have you back, whether it's a co-host, via Zoom or whatever. As we know, for everybody watching or listening at home, we will be back next week with Frankie Kyle. He is a
Jump off loud.
We will be back live with Frankie Kyle. He is a custom Hasbro action figure maker out of the UK. He will be joining us next week, and then the week after that will be Catherine Sutherland, who was also known as the Pink Ranger in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Power Rangers Zero, and Power Rangers Turbo. So thank you for everybody for joining us on the Happy Hour podcast.
We will have you showing the same these action figures.
We will see you guys next week.
Peace out.
Cool. Let me go ahead and stop this feed. We're going to get charged $1 million for hot spotting.
I'm going to wash my hands.